TikTok. I'm your host, Jamal Radio Raheem. Now, Found on TikTok is a music podcast where I find topics from TikTok, Instagram, Reddit, conversations from my friends, conversations that I generally just find interesting. As long as it's music related, we're going to talk about it. Now, I'm giving my top 10 hip hop groups of all time. Hip hop is 50 this year, and I'm going to do a whole bunch of episodes on my top 10 list of top songs, top whatever. This episode is gonna be my top 10 hip hop groups of all time. So without further ado, let's get it, shouty. Now I gotta start with some honorable mentions. I wouldn't be me if I didn't have the honorable mentions. First is Migos. Say what you want to say about Migos. You cannot deny their impact. You cannot deny Migos' impact. RIP to Takeoff. They came and changed the game. Literally, everybody is doing their ad libs and copying what Migos do. Shout out to Migos. Black Hippie, Kendrick, Absol, Schoolboy Q, J Rock. Now, they never dropped a project. That's why it was hard. I really wanted to put them on here. I really did. Like every song they dropped together as a collective have been bangers. Every song, whether it was like that, they just having fun. Vice City, like all the remixes that they dropped on, like they've been killing it. But I couldn't because there's no project. The West Coast in me really wanted to put them on there though. Run DMC, they also didn't make it. They are pioneers. They took the bullets for hip hop for sure. I just couldn't put them on here. When you kind of talk about the skill of them and the other groups, I just couldn't. And last but not least, Far Side. The reason why they're honorable mention, because I do think there are groups better than Far Side. I think Far Side is the most underrated hip hop group of all time. Like nobody talks about Far Side. They don't get the love that I think they deserve, and that's the reason why they're honorable mentions. But now let's get into what people really care about. My top 10. At 10, we're going with 3 6 Mafia. 3 6 Mafia is super important to the culture. They have been around for so long too. Like the evolution of hip hop. Like you can look at 3 6 Mafia. Like the group has changed, you know what I'm saying? But the consistent members have been DJ Paul and Juicy J. But their impact is crazy. Like you could thank 3 6 Mafia for a lot of the sound right now. Like the Suicide Boys literally took their whole style. Their whole style even took like the beats basically, like sampling 3 6 Mafia. Like they literally did that. You cannot deny it. They had me singing Slob on My Knob. I know the whole song. The whole song. I was like 6, 7 singing that song. Why? Don't know. But shout out to 3 6 Mafia, man. At 9, I'm going with the Clips. Malice and Pusha T. They have no bad projects. This might be a little high for some people, but this is my list. And I have them at number 9. I don't think they have a miss. They don't have a miss. I want another Clips album. I want another Clips album. Even if Malice isn't cussing, I don't care. I want another Clips album. No Malice, I'm sorry. He changed his name. I don't want to be. I'm not saying it to be disrespectful. The Clips, they're just fantastic. You know what I'm saying? I want another project. I have high expectations for every project that they drop though. So I get why they haven't dropped the project because like let's be honest, if the Clips dropped the project, the expectations would be so damn high. So damn high. And I think they could exceed it to be honest. At 8, I'm going with UGK, Pimp C, Bun B. Now, they have one of the best catalogs of any group. Let's just put it out there. But for me personally, they gave me them and Scarface are the reason why I started listening to who my favorite rapper is that's Chameleonaire. So they always have a special place in my heart. But UGK's impact on the South, on music, cannot be understated. You know what I'm saying? Like, they are so great. You know, the song their catalog too that really made me a fan was Murder. Both Pimp C and um, Bun B. I don't know why I said it like that. Delivered on this song. Both of them delivered. You know what I'm saying? Like, this might be both of their best verses like they've ever spit. Definitely Bun B's best verses because it's one of the best verses in hip hop history. Um, it might be one of Pimp C's best verses as well. Like, that song "Murder," they did that damn thing. Whatever that sample, the beat, everything about it is fantastic. UGK, fantastic. One of the greatest groups of all time, and I have them at number 8. At number 7, I got Wu Tang Clan. I got Wu Tang at number 7. This might piss some people off, especially the New Yorkers, because they are hella biased when it comes to New York artists. But I think Wu Tang is a great group. I mean, they're number 7 on my list. The reason why they're not higher because I personally think they got 2 good albums. When people talk about Wu Tang, they talk about their solo albums. Usually, when they talk about them, they talk about how great they are as solo artists, not as a collective, which I think they're great as. But usually, when like people have them as the greatest group of all time, they're basing it off of their solo albums, not what they did in a group. You know, I think they're a fantastic group. I think there are groups better than them. I think their like individual success is better than their Wu Tang success, and I'm willing to argue with anybody on that. You know, I remember I was scrolling through TikTok, and Source he made the point that like um, talk about Wu Tang without talking about their solo albums, and I thought like, wow, anytime I talk about Wu Tang, I talk about their solo albums. Anytime I talk to people about Wu Tang, we talk about their first 2 albums, and then we talk about their solo albums. Like, and we might not even get to their second album, to be honest. We talk about their first album, and then we go to Ghostface albums, we go to Raekwon's album, we go to Meth's album. You know what I'm saying? Like, Wu Tang is great, but like, and their fans are just one of the annoying fan bases all time. But I love Wu Tang. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna act like I don't, but they're not the greatest hip hop group of all time. And if we're gonna really look at their catalog as a group, like, they got some misses. At 6, we're going with Slum Village. Um, Now, Slum Village is one of my favorite groups of all time. Volume 2 by Slum Village is one of the greatest hip hop albums of all time. If you do a top 50 hip hop albums of all time, top 100 hip hop albums of all time, shoot, I might say top 25 hip hop albums of all time. Um, but definitely top 50. And you don't have Volume 2 by Slum Village on there, I don't really want to talk to you, to be honest. Like, I think that album is fantastic. I think Slum Village is just they're like the definition of hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Like, when I listen to Slum Village, I'm like, this is what like the old heads think they want when they say like this is how hip hop's supposed to sound. And I think they're fantastic. I think the production was always fantastic because of the obvious reason that everybody knows why. Like, they Dilla beats, you get Dilla beats, like you're gonna be great. But they're fantastic. All of their albums are great. My goal is to own all of their albums on CD and vinyl. I think they're that great. I think they are underrated. I think they don't get the credit. Like, they are some spitters, all of them. Shout out to Slum Village. If you haven't heard Volume 2, if that's the album I do recommend from their catalog, go listen to it. It's a phenomenal project. It's fantastic. At 5, we're going with Little Brother. Little Brother is just, honestly, they're good with Ninth Wonder. They're good without Ninth Wonder. Now, obviously, I think they would be better with Ninth Wonder because Ninth Wonder to me is one of the, if not the greatest producer of all time. So, yeah, they're going to be better with him. But Little Brother, without Ninth Wonder, their album was still fantastic. They still giving you them bars. Fonte is one of the greatest rappers of all time. Fonte, without him, there's no Drake. You know what I'm saying? Like, he made it cool to sing. Everybody said like, "Oh, Drake made it cool to sing," and blah blah blah. Like, no, there are rappers doing it before him. You know what I'm saying? LL was doing it. Chameleonaire was doing it, and definitely Fonte. Like, and we know, like, if you listen to early Drake, you can tell like the love that he has for Little Brother and like Slum Village. But Little Brother, they are just one. Their songs have a message. They're not just putting out boo boo, and then the production is fantastic. You know what I'm saying? Pooh and Fonte do the damn thing. It's hard to find a duo better than those two. Honestly, if we gonna keep it a bean, it's hard to find a duo better than them that are spitting. There's probably one duo better than them when it comes to spitting. If we keeping it a bean, yeah. At 4, we got NWA. Um, I'm from the West, so you already know my West Coast bias. Definitely, I'm not gonna act like it doesn't show. I'm not one of them people who's gonna ignore it. But even if I wasn't from the West, you can't deny the impact of NWA. NWA, their first album alone had songs for. They had Express Yourself, was telling you to, had no curse words on there. F the Police, which, had the message that still stands today, if I don't say so myself. Uh, Straight Outta Compton, like that album is just dope, man. Like, oh my, there's so many bangers on there. Like, you got a group of Ice Cube, Dr. Dre, Eazy E, MC Ren, and DJ Yella. All of them by themselves, phenomenal artists. Dr. Dre is one of the greatest producers of all time. Ice Cube, one of the greatest rappers of all time. MC Ren, one of the most underrated rappers of all time. You know what I'm saying? Like, Easy E, we know the impact. Yella put the stuff together so nicely. Like, they fit each other so perfectly. They are the definition of West Coast hip hop. They're the definition of gangster rap. Like, you cannot talk about the history of hip hop without NWA. That's how impactful they are. You cannot talk about it without NWA. You just can't. There's so many artists you can talk about hip hop without them. You cannot talk about hip hop without NWA. That says how great they are. Period. At number 3, we're going with De La Soul. Now, De La Soul is a group that I got into when I was an adult, 18, 19. I went through this phase where I was like, music needs to sound like this or I ain't listening to it. And De La Soul was part of the reason why. They're one of the groups that I was like, it needs to sound like this. But like, I recently just started listening to them again because like their music is on like streaming and stuff like that. And I'm just like, wow, how great they were. Like it's just sad, to be honest, that they're not all here to see like the love that they are getting. Because there are people who are younger than me, and I'm 30. I'll probably be 31 when this comes out because my birthday is coming up. But there's people who are like 18, 19 who are now listening to De La Soul for the first time, and they are discovering how great they were as a group. And I wish their music was on streaming beforehand. I wish they weren't going through all that stuff so people could recognize their greatness, give them the credit that they deserve, while they can all enjoy it, all get their flowers. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wish, because some people just know me, myself, and I. And while that is a banger, because black is black. That is a banger. Um, they're much more than that. Their catalog is, it could go toe to toe with anybody, not just groups, any artist, any rapper. You put their catalog against a lot of people, they eating them. Shout out to De La Soul. Y'all one of the greatest to ever do it. I want to give the members that are still alive their flowers while I still can, while they are still alive. Y'all are great. If y'all ever question your impact on hip hop, just know people like me, people who are younger than me, are now finally listening to you, and y'all are getting talked about in these rooms that y'all probably didn't even think so. Like, I put y'all on my playlist. These middle school kids are about to be listening to De La Soul and singing De La Soul. Like, that's crazy. I never thought that I would say that because I never thought that music would get streamed, would be on streaming. I'm not going to hold you. The way these companies be doing people. But shout out to De La Soul. At 2, my favorite group, A Tribe Called Quest. Low End Theory, if you don't know, that's my favorite album of all time. That's the album that really, really made me love hip hop. That's the album that put me onto samples, jazz samples, and everything like that. Them as a group, like their first 3 albums, not a miss. Not a miss. But like, Tribe is so great that the album that we consider bad ain't really bad if you look at it. It's bad by Tribe standards. But if you compare it to like regular rappers, because yes, I compare it to these rappers that are here today, gone tomorrow, their album is it's fine. You know what I'm saying? But like their impact on like alternative hip hop, that's what I call it. I don't know what people will actually call it. It can't not be stated any understated. You know what I'm saying? Overstated. Whatever word I'm looking for. Because they are the first group that I heard, really the first artist that I heard that weren't talking about money, weren't talking about killing people, weren't like none of that type of stuff. Like it just felt like something that I can relate to. Most of the stuff that we were hearing, when people always say listen to the music from the 90s and blah blah blah, it's stuff I can't relate to. You know what I'm saying? Like I can relate to De La Soul, but I really can relate to Tribe Called Quest. The stuff they're saying, the stuff that they're talking about, the music, it's all great. I'm a big fan of theirs. Everybody who knows me knows that I love Tribe Called Quest. Love the music. I think they're great. Q-Tip, to be honest, is somebody who's not gonna get appreciated until like he's an old man, but like his impact on hip hop. Like, try to tell the story of hip hop without Q-Tip. Please, I dare you. I dare you. I dare you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't even talk about like the hip hop without him. Even if you try to talk about like Illmatic by Nas, you're still talking about Q-Tip because he's on there. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's great. Tribe is great. Fife, oh my gosh, I almost went this whole time without talking about Fife. Fife, dog, is just R.I.P. number 1. Let me get that off it right. Fife, dog, the punchlines, the bars, like he's always gonna drop a dope like sports metaphors, like a sports reference. Like he's always gonna say something that's gonna make you rewind. Fife Dog was a true MC, one of the best to do it. Definitely in my top 50 of all time. I don't really care what people like. He's one of my favorites to do it. RP to Fife Dog, man. I always get sad when I think about Tribe Called Quest though, cause I don't know, man. I feel like they could have been. The impact that they had on me, on music, like I don't even know how I would view music if it wasn't for Tribe Called Quest. That's how important they are to me. So, RP Fife Dog. Shout out to Tribe Called Quest. Y'all one of the greatest to ever do it. And number 1, the greatest group of all time, Outkast. It's not even a question. It's not even a question. If you have a hip hop group above Outkast, I don't want to talk to you. I really don't. I might fight you. Nah, if you have a hip hop group above Outkast, you better have a great case because I want to hear it. Like, they don't have a miss. Both of them are top MCs. Andre 3000, he's so great that he don't need a solo album from me. He already top 5 all time to me without his solo album. Big Boy, he top tier too. You know what I'm saying? The notion that like Outkast is just Andre 3000, for people who say that, you're an idiot. Stop talking about music. Their impact on they really put the South on. You know what I'm saying? Like UGK opened the door, they kicked that motherfucker down. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't have a miss. Even Idlewild, Even Idlewild. You know what I'm saying? Because when you look at Idlewild in the context that you're supposed to look at it, Idlewild is for the movie Idlewild, which I think is a good movie as well. When you watch the movie and then listen to the album after, then come back and talk to me because that shit go perfect together. It really does. I think that Outkast has no misses. I think even their speaker box and Love Below is fantastic. I think that they are just a phenomenal partnership. They're like the yin and the yang. They balance each other so well. I think that they are not only the greatest hip hop groups of all time, or one of the, not only the greatest hip hop group of all time. You can make a case that they're the greatest group of all time in music and general. You know what I'm saying? Like adding R&B groups, pop groups, rock groups. You can make that case. You can make that case. I might make that case in a later video. Who knows? I need to write down my thoughts and actually like look at all the groups. But you could kind of make that case. You know, they're definitely top 3 of all time in groups in general. I said that, and I mean that one. That one, that's something that we can go toe to toe on. You know what I'm saying? Now, the greatest group of all time, we could talk about it. But they're definitely the greatest group of all time. That's Outkast. Let me give you my list one more time. At 10, 3-6 Mafia, 9 Clips, 8 UGK, 7 Wu-Tang, 6 Slum Village, 5 Little Brother, 4 NWA, 3 De La Soul, 2 A Tribe Called Quest, and number 1 Outkast. Now, before I end the video, I just want to leave this disclaimer. I should have did it at the beginning. I did not include groups that are a DJ and a rapper. You know what I'm saying? A producer and a rapper. I didn't include any of those on my list. They deserve their own list in general. So they are not on this list. So there's no Eric B. and Rakim or no Fresh Prince and Jazzy Jeff. There's none of that on this. No Gangstar. Like, I just wanted to be clear on that before people start saying, like, oh, why don't you include Gangstar? Why don't you include whatever? That's why. You know what I'm saying? But this has been Found on TikTok. I've been your boy Jamal Radio Raheem, man. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, all that type of stuff that YouTubers tell you, man. Follow your boy, share it with everybody, and I'll catch y'all next time. Peace.